You're listening to Radio Kidnappers, the voice of Hawke's Bay. Once again, it's our pleasure to have in the studio Lou from the wonderful world of Wardini books. How you going, Lou?
Very well, Ken. How are you doing?
Oh, all the better for seeing you. Now, before we get on today's three fabulous books you're going to review, just remind our listeners where Wardini Books is.
It's in Havelock North, 16 Tomato Road and 44 Hastings Street, Napier.
And you're open 7 days a week?
Yes, we are.
Good on you. That's what I like to hear. Capitalism at its best.
Oh, don't say things like that. Terrifying.
And the first of the three books we're going to have a look at today is Grandma McGarvey Joins a Scrum. It has to be about rugby.
It does, but it's really about Grandma McGarvey. So this is celebrating 30 years of Grandma McGarvey. Are you familiar?
No, I've never heard of
Yeah.
it. So, and you were saying it's a remake.
Yeah, quite an iconic New Zealand book for children. There are several in the series, I think. And this one first came out in 2007.
Wow.
So what's that, 12 years?
Yeah.
Did I do maths? And the story is by Jenny Hessel and it's illustrated by Trevor Pye. And what happens in this one, the rhymes are really good. Sometimes rhymes don't work, but these do. So she's got stuff going on with her car. She's getting ready to go out for a ride and the engine has died. And because she's Grandma McGarvey, she's like the world's most kick-ass gran. She tries to fix it herself. She heaved on the bumper, kicked at the tyre, she emptied the boot to lighten the load, but the car wouldn't budge from the side of the road. The dog got all frantic and started to yelp, so Grandma set off to find someone to help. And what happens is, she goes over to the rugby club because she can hear all this cheering. Someone yelled catch, and Grandma stepped into a rugby match.
I love those rhymes. They are good. And there's great
good.
drawings, aren't they?
Brilliant, full of life, full of movement, and the dog's in there as well. And someone tackles her. And you think as an older person yourself, you just go like, oh my God, that's going to hurt. But no, she's tackled to the ground, she gets into a scrum. All these sweaty, smelly, dirty rugby players. She gets herself free, but then they call, that's it, this is where the scrum is ordered, and so she's in the middle of the scrum as well. And there's all this action going on, people running everywhere. Someone passes her the ball, so she doesn't know what to do. She just like takes to her heels, gets down the field. So she's speeding down the field with the little doggo at her heels. She sidestepped a centre who took a nosedive, then tripped up the halfback and dodged the first five. And the spectators cheered and the referee frowned as the dog chased the touch judge out of the ground. But she's zooming along, and she just scores a try. And she wins the match for the team, who then, well, she's like, well, come on, you need to do something for me now. So they go and help her fix the car and get that on the road again.
Look at that. Yeah,
happy ending.
Happy ending. I love happy endings.
Well, I just like that it subverts that old granny thing.
Yeah.
She's just like, oh, okay then.
That's right.
I'll get on with it.
That does have its flip side. I was running with my granddaughter the other day, just as purely as an aside, and I always used to be waiting for them. Come on, I'm waiting for you, just to sort of encourage them. And then on Tuesday night, we went for the run, and the tables have well and truly turned. They're saying, come on, how slow can you be, Grandad?
I think you've been done quite well there, Ken. My daughter's been running faster than me for a long time now.
And our next book is called Faber and Faber, The Untold Story.
And it's by Toby Faber, who is the grandson of the original Faber, Geoffrey Faber. There was only one Faber, but someone decided, well, what are we going to call it? That he was with Faber and I can't remember the other guy's name originally, and they were scientific publishers, and then something happened and it just became Faber, but it didn't sound right, so someone said, we'll just have another Faber, no one will know. Yeah, so that's the origins of Faber and Faber, and they went into publishing fiction and all sorts of other things, and they're quite an iconic publisher, still going very strong. But this is Toby's story of the family business. And what I really like about this book is, I mean, you've got all these authors drawn on the front there.
Yes.
And I could pick out one or two. So I knew that was Ted Hughes, and I knew that was Sylvia Plath staring at him across the table. And then we've got Kazuo Ishiguro, we've got P.D. James there, William Golding at the back. We've got all these famous people, and on the back, Philip Larkin just hanging around.
Oh, look at that. You're so clever, Lou.
Eh?
You're so clever.
I'm just nerdy, that's all. But what you've got in here is all the untold stories. So the things like, you know, Lord of the Flies, one of the best-selling books in the world. Here's the original thing. The initial reader's report on Lord of the Flies by William Golding, published by Faber in 1954. This was the original reader's report. Absurd and uninteresting fantasy about the explosion of an atom bomb on the colonies. A group of children who land in jungle country near New Guinea. Rubbish and dull, pointless, reject. But someone then went in, I don't know if it was T.S. Eliot, because he was an editor there, went in and somebody rummaged around and said, actually, I think there's some gold in there. And they did publish it. But there are also other stories of things that they were like, oh, no, we don't want to publish that.
I wonder what those original reviewers think, if they're still around today.
Well, some of them will be.
I might have made a gaffe there.
I suppose all publishers have that. It's the one that got away, because how many people rejected Harry Potter before Bloomsbury took it on?
Well, what about Decca rejecting the Beatles?
Well, can you imagine?
That?
Biggest band, was it bigger than Gone?
Yeah. And our last book is Words Amongst Friends.
This is a very special book. So this is by a local poet called Ian Watson. And he has been writing poetry all his life. And decided that he was going to put a little volume together, and he's had multiple sclerosis for 30 years now, and he is in a wheelchair now. He's got a really nice nifty one for going around town. And he asked his friends he commissioned friends and acquaintances to put images to his poems. So you've got a little volume of poetry with just really amazing images.
That is amazing.
So mostly photography, although some of them are more sort of graphically designed. There's a really cool shot of a Napier alleyway. You can smell it.
Oh, yes, look at that.
And that's the poem, actually.
My daughter used to live down that alleyway.
Really?
Yes, look at that. See? 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
It is indeed. But there's real lightness and darkness in these poems. So it's right from when Ian was a little boy, and I really quite like that one. It's a shape poem about the kite that he and his brothers had. Every summer, each year, Dad built a kite, always called Katie, always starkly plain, brown paper, bamboo and twine. Katie, an innocent kite held together with tape. She was prone to break, but we didn't mind. And it goes on like that. They hold this kite together, and it's like the knitting together of a family. It's quite beautiful.
Wouldn't it be great to have something like that in your own family? You did the same thing every year.
Yeah,
it went on.
A lot of families do, don't they? So Ian's selling this book soon. We're going to have an event on August the 22nd in a Napier shop. That'll be on our Facebook page, and all the profits will go to the Multiple Sclerosis Society.
Good on him.
And he will be talking about the process of the book and his multiple sclerosis journey, for want of a better word.
Fabulous. Good on you, Lou. As always, our pleasure. You look after yourself. Just remind our listeners one more time, we want to come and see you to get one of these fabulous books that you've reviewed today. Where do we do that?
Yeah, come to Wardini Books.
That's right, you do. In Napier and in Hastings.
And online.
Indeed. Look after yourself. Talk to you next time.
Cheers.